What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires, and it would appear as though Sony really has their back up against the wall. If you missed some of our previous videos on this exact same topic, Sony has two hard deadlines on the horizon, one in 2025 and one in 2026, to both start filming and production on Spider-Man 4 and release the film, or else the rights are in danger of bouncing back to Disney and Marvel. Again, the Spider-Man rights, the one thing that Sony can ill afford to lose. And as it would turn out over the last day or two, and coming from industry insider sources, apparently their script is nowhere near quote-unquote shoot ready and being ripped up from the stem. We're going to break down this latest report, what it said about the current state of the script, as well as the plot and the reworking of the story, and why this is looking all very ominous for Sony, their Spider-Man rights, and the outcome of this film. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. If that sort of thing's for you, we're just days away from our next PS5 giveaway. All you got to do, be a sub, leave a comment. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this news actually started 2 days ago in a couple of places as rumors, but we got a full follow-up from none other than industry insider Daniel Rickman. You guys can follow him over on Patreon at RPK News with a full update as far as what's going on currently with the Spider-Man 4 script. He goes on to say this, quote, "It seems like Spider-Man 4 is still a long way from starting production. According to reliable sources, the script is facing some problems and there isn't a finalized shooting draft yet. With sky-high expectations following the success of No Way Home, Kevin Feige and Sony felt the pressure to step up their game and deliver something even better. I hear the writing team is hard at work reworking the plot to address these issues and improve the story. Right now, the plan is to shoot in August, so there's still time. However, could this delay the filming schedule? Only time will tell." Now, this is pretty interesting because we were hearing all sorts of things, including symbiotes and a street-level team-up with Daredevil, and also multiversal Spider-Man like Andrew and Tobey returning to be a part of this film. Maybe the film just became overcluttered. We're going to talk about that in a second, but I want to start with the end of that scoop and not mix words. As I mentioned in the prologue, when he says we'll have to see if this will delay the filming, it can. It literally can't. They may have until September of 2027 to release Spider-Man 4, but they only have till September of 2025 to start filming, and right now, they're slated to start in August, only a month before that. So when he says, hey, this may delay the filming, not if Sony wants to lose those rights back to Disney and Marvel, which means brass tacks, they have a hard deadline they have to start filming by. And that's a real problem, because as Sony has proven with films like Madam Web and Morbius, but also we've seen the exact same thing with Marvel Studios and Blade, you can't start the project until the writing is done, because no amount of acting, special effects, or otherwise cameos can make up for a bad script and a bad story. And as Kevin Feige has been so diligently doing with Marvel Studios and all of their new projects since the basic MO rework for their quality control, is that they start with the script and won't move forward until the script is right and they know that the project story is intact. Now, we've seen this actually work for some projects recently. If you missed our recent coverage on X-Men, apparently they're already looking for a director, which means that basically the script they've got, the story, is in tow. And it doesn't mean that all the details need to be done for Spider-Man 4, as obviously there are going to be rewrites and reshoots along the way, but the intrinsic X, Y, and Z, hey, this happens in the first act because so-and-so needs to have this conflict in the second act, and they overcome that conflict to have this resolve for it. They need all that put together, and as long as that's in place, you can change the details around it, but you still basically get the same story. Without that, they don't have a Spider-Man 4. Now, as we were saying moments ago about it being overcrowded, there seemed to be a rift very early on between Sony and Marvel, where Marvel wanted a street-level, grounded story, a team-up with Daredevil that leads to a face-off with Kingpin, maybe involve the Punisher. That was Marvel's idea for the next Spider-Man movie, where Sony wanted it to be a huge multiversal thing, with Venom and the symbiotes, bringing the other Spider-Man back, and you could see why those don't quite reconcile. That's why I was super shocked to hear recently all of those scoops wrapped into one for one big storyline. You know, Daredevil and Punisher alongside Spider-Man is a dream come true, but they're not really multiversal characters, or at least in the sense of what you would expect from that team up in the MCU, and who can deny that Sony and Marvel made a very indelible choice there at the end of Spider-Man 3 to make him friendly neighborhood Spider-Man instead of the Spider-Man who's been to space and is connected to the Avengers and well funded by Tony. So why in the world they would try to backtrack that now and make him multiversal Peter Parker all over again seems to go in the face of and undo the consequences of him casting the spell at the end of No Way Home. And look, I know that there's already massive pressure on Sony to want to deliver for every Spider-Man movie that they make, but now you have added pressure of coming in between the two Avengers films, the added pressure of having hard deadlines where you have to start rolling film by September of next year, and the added pressure that their Sony Spider-Verse has apparently completely fallen apart to the point where they're either going to scrap it or reboot it per reports. So there's all this added pressure now on top of them that they didn't have before, and quite honestly, I think it is a mistake to try to live up to or redo Spider-Man No Way Home. It was one of the most hyped Marvel movies of all time because of Andrew and Tobey returning, but now you've played that card. We already know that they're back and part of the multiverse, and yeah, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see a full film with all three of them, but I just don't think that's necessary, and even if they decide to do that, I still don't think that they're going to match that hype, and I actually don't think they have to. Spider-Man 4 can exist as its own thing to serve its own story, and between the Avengers films, they don't need to recapture the magic of Spider-Man No Way Home. In fact, I don't think they can. And I think it might be a real mistake if they're using that as their North Star to guide them through a new script, because it might not be possible. So allow the new script, the new story, to be what it's going to be. If it involves multiversal Spider-Man, great. And if it doesn't, I think that's okay too. I think the biggest mistake here is Sony trying to do this, saying, hey, it's got to be as good as Spider-Man No Way Home. It's got to be as hype as Spider-Man No Way Home, because I think that's how we end up with a mess of a film that doesn't make any sense with everything crammed into it. And look, while certain ingredients are good on their own, when mixed with other things, they just don't fly. You don't really want to put chocolate on your fish, and that is the case here. If you want to do a ground level team up with Daredevil and Punisher and face them off against Kingpin, but you also want to involve the symbiote, but you also want to involve Doctor Doom and elements from the Avengers movies, it just doesn't seem like they're going to come to a place where that makes sense in one script. So pick the most important elements and go for it. And I don't know if Sony's paying attention, but man, the route with Daredevil and Punisher on the street level is so much easier, really, in context of itself, and it's what everybody wants to see. I don't know about you guys, but let me know down in the comments how you feel about it, what you want out of Spider-Man 4, and what you think they should focus on now that they're completely redoing the script. I'm all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, we are still giving away PS5s. The next one happens to be just days away to coincide with the finale of What If Season 3. Quick side note, guys, I actually ended up traveling for the holiday season, and with Marvel putting these shows out at 3 a.m., we're going to skip the watch parties. We'll kick them back up for Daredevil. In the meantime, if you want to be entered to win or for any of the other future giveaways, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos, and of course, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple places, Instagram and Twitter at @I'mFires. You can also find me on all platforms with original music under the name All Fires. And while I'd sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.